We're doing it live.
Doing it wide. Doing it live. Doing it.
Okay.
So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, quarantine ashtray. I'm here to fuck up your night. Okay. Tonight's episode of the Red Eye Report, we're going to talk about the implosion of Mount Gox. And no, that's not the name of Oracle's tallest cock barnacle. He calls it hobnobber.
Hobnobber.
Beside
It's
him,
gonna
we
be a
have
good
Teddy.
show. Gonna be a good show.
Don't let his prejudice of robotic lawnmowers fool you. He's Stella Dick.
Whoa.
Hobnobber.
Sorry.
Then there's Mistic.
Watching this show called The Red Eye Report. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it.
He went out on a drive today just to put the wind in his hair and to air out his pandemic bed sores.
Yep.
I gotta say, that's probably like,
I
do you
hate
have
him.
an office chair to sit when you work at home? Like, my chair here sucks. Lame.
Why would I not have an office chair? Who doesn't have an office chair, Ashley?
Me.
Yeah, what do you have?
Dude,
I got this little stool.
I have an
That
office
seems
chair and I don't even
It
have
is
an
totally
office.
uncomfortable. Well, I haven't had to work remotely before. Anyways. And then there's me, your favorite lovable rascal ashtray. Alzheimer ashtray, that is. And this is the Red Eye Report.
You're nobody's favorite. By
You
the way.
should have said, and
Fucking
this
lied to
is
you.
the...
Yeah, right?
This
This is a Who Am I?
Oh,
Where
give
am
it time.
All right. Yeah, it's only a matter of years.
40 years
right,
from
tonight-
now. It'll be like,
We're going to talk about Mount Gox. Do you remember Mount Gox? I mean, we remember it because we did our podcast episode about
got my
Bitcoin.
shit pushed in by Mount Gox.
I do remember Mount Gox. I guess the only thing I remember from it is all of a sudden people were talking about how great fucking Bitcoin was, and suddenly millions of dollars disappeared from Mount Gox.
Hey,
Wasn't
sis.
it like tens of millions of dollars? Like, it was a lot.
Oh, yeah, it was a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
And
Hundreds or something?
like overnight, and they didn't
Yeah.
have
I
any
was-
answers.
Dude just took
Okay,
off.
okay. Yeah, dude, but okay, that was Mount Gox.
That's
Okay.
all I
I
remember.
was gonna say I
The,
don't remember any of it, but now I do.
well, no, Oracle, when you had Bitcoins, did you have them through Mount Gox? Because at the time, it was, it had like almost all the it was like the Bitcoin place to exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
No, I did not trade through Mount Gox. I traded through a different. I think I might have gotten in right around when Gox went down. So yeah, I wasn't using that. I didn't lose any.
Okay.
Now,
money.
what was Mount Gox? Is that the name of the
So-
dude, or is that,
That was the name of the trading site.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Mount Gox was a Bitcoin exchange website and company that was based in Tokyo, Japan. And it lasted from about 2010 to 2014. And around from the years 2013 to early 2014, before it all blew up, they were handling like 70% of all the Bitcoin transactions in the world. And then in February of 2014, Gox basically just was like, oh, we're stopped. It's kind of like, it'd be like the NASDAQ was just like, put the brake on. We're stopping trading.
Corona caught up to him, huh?
And yeah. And so but then they closed their website and filed for bankruptcy. And they basically, like, the CEO had this formal, like, oh, sorry, like, basically, I wasn't up to the task. Yeah. So
Since I formed an LLC, fuck you.
Yeah, which is insane. I mean, can you imagine if you invested like $10 million and then all of a sudden this doofus
Right.
was like, oh,
Oh, shit, yeah.
sorry.
Mhm.
I would have that person killed.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had all this money. Wah, wah, wah.
There's a stream of death threats that came in. So let's start at the the very early days of Mount Gox. It was founded actually in 2006, originally by this guy named Jeb McCaleb, and it's called Mount Gox
Amish?
because it was an acronym for Madison the Gathering card exchange.
Madison the
trading exchange.
Gathering or
Magic the Gathering
Magic
card
Gathering.
game.
Okay, yeah.
The
Like, I've never heard. I played Magic the Gathering. I've never heard of Madison the Gathering.
Madison the
I thought it was a
Gathering.
new, iteration. I was like, you get to give me some new cards. Holy shit.
It's a
Anyways, he only did that for about 3 months before I was like, this fucking lame, like the game itself. So he had
3
this.
months to figure that out?
Like he tried to, and maybe he just couldn't make it work. There weren't many details, but he essentially wanted to make a website where you could trade Magic cards like stocks.
That's not nerdy at all.
Yeah. Derp. Anyways, so in 2010, though, he starts reading and learning about Bitcoin. And on July 18th of 2010 is when he took Mount Gox, the URL, because he still had it. And he basically created the programming or coding to be an exchange for Bitcoins. But then it started getting like in 2011 is when he's kind of like, well, they're like, this is getting a little bigger than I can handle because a lot of money was being put into their site. And so he hands it over to this guy, Mark Carpelis, this French nerd. You can see that picture there in the outline, Oracle, if you want to bring that
nerd.
up. Who
This guy
he's
on like a fucking exercise ball?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jeb is like offers Mark. He's like, don't tell anyone this.
Is he on Rumspringa or something?
Yeah.
Jeb
He's like,
McCullough? I gotta go back to the
anyone.
farm. Hey, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Well, yeah, he was like, I'm thinking of selling Mount Gox. Like, this would disrupt everything if people know. So keep it to yourself. But he's like, would you be interested?
Nerd.
So then he basically makes this deal with Mark that he hands it over to him without Mark having to actually pay anything. This is like the Mark nerd should have known this deal seemed to be too good to be true. It was like, I will hand control over to you without paying anything, but we're gonna like basically start splitting over time, like ownership of the company. And Jeb did, I guess, retain at least 12%.
I've seen that in Tiger King.
Yeah, right? So I'm going to hand it over to you, and then you take it over.
They kept switching the name with the fucking zoo, so they couldn't come after such and so, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, this Mark guy takes it over. But this Mark guy is, he was some young French introvert who he had done...
Nerd.
Yeah. He had done like some, contract programming and stuff, but nothing to the scale of like running a company like this. Because as Bitcoin, when he took the company, Bitcoin was like $1 a Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty low, and it was kind of like this, didn't seem like it was no big deal. But then, once the media started talking about Bitcoin, the price went from like $1 a Bitcoin to $30 a Bitcoin. That's like a 30 times tripling of wealth in however many Bitcoins there may have been. And it's like, oh shit, now there's money. So he starts bringing people on into the company to work, but there was no traditional, triangle or pyramid, that like a corporation would have. It was pretty much like Mark had the keys to the bank vault of Mount Gox, and everyone else just kind of worked under him, but they were all about like the same level. And they're like these people in these interviews talking about how he's like this kind of weird, probably has some Asperger's. They even address it in the documentary. Nerd who they were saying like there'd be times you have to tell him like, Mark, stop playing with the robot. Like we've got to get to work. Or like, Mark, you can't bring pizza into this meeting. This client is like $1 billion bank. Like you can't like come. Yeah, you
Why
own
not?
this company, but like the communications and marketing people who started to become brought on to the company. One of them was telling this story. It was like right after the day after the meeting, and this picture is from that. The communications director is like, all communications with the press and stuff will go through me. And they come into the office the next day, and there's Mark there sitting on this exercise ball, being interviewed by Reuters magazine. And he's like, what's going on? Like we just talked about this. And then he in the documentary, he's like, I couldn't help but be I was aghast at the image of this, overweight man just rolling around on this exercise ball, just precariously balanced. It's like you're supposed to have faith in like how solid, our exchange is, instead it's just like, here's this fucking nerd rolling around on an exercise ball, send your millions this way.
Yeah, right.
So when when it all fell apart, it was 850,000, not dollars, bitcoins were lost. And it was at the time $365 million worth. They estimate today if the people who own those bitcoins still had them, the cumulative wealth should be around $2 to $3 billion.
Wow.
Yes. And so,
wait, is this white man still alive?
I would have killed myself. Dude.
I mean, honestly, that's got to be because that's a lot of people that have been fucking pissed off.
Oh yeah, and that's kind of the thing is, I think that's why this Jeb guy who created it handed it off, because he's realizing like just how big this is going to get.
Yeah,
how hard
he was like, I'm out, dude.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's smart.
He's
what
like,
does that guy do
this
now? Like, is he out of the game completely?
Works on an Amish farm, dude.
He
works on an Amish farm.
Yeah, I don't know. They did interview him in this documentary. He didn't really say like what he's doing now, but so what ended up happening was
not getting murdered for losing hundreds of millions of dollars.
Or he's living large with fucking $2 billion $2 billion worth of bitcoins in his fucking secret fucking vault.
So what we didn't know, or what did we? I'm not sure if we talked about it in our Bitcoin episode, but hot wallets versus cold storage. Did we talk about that, or did you ever use any of that kind of stuff?
Well, I just know that it was a wallet. So basically what the wallet is you had like this really long kind of fucking password. It was like a super long key that you would put in, and then that's how you would get Bitcoins sent to you.
That password, that long key was for your wallet?
Yeah, that was for the wallet. And it was on my computer, and so this program that I had was something that I could take offline if I wanted to. I could put it on a hard drive and tuck it away. I have used after that I used like Coinbase, which is based online, and it handles all that shit through like an online.
Coinbase is an exchange as well, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and I think they're probably the biggest one now, right?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, definitely a lot more legit than.
It's not Mount Gox. That's
the thing is, Mount Gox. So at the time, it was, and maybe just because it was the first, they were considered like everybody had trust in them.
Well, yeah, they were probably the only ones.
That's like having trust in fucking Netscape, man. You're like,
AOL, they're going to the
right
roof.
Yeah. So the way the hot wallet and cold storage works is, so like a hot wallet is essentially the server for Mt. Gox, and that holds like the active bitcoins and the information for those on the server. Cold storage is, in a sense of, it would be like the like a bank taking the digital, value on their ledger and sending some of that and like turning it into gold, so they have like a physical store of value. What they do, it's kind of sounds like a fucking James Bond thing where they buy a brand new laptop, it's never been used. They then disable and remove all the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. They don't connect it to the network. They just use that computer to process the code of these Bitcoins, and they hook it up to a printer, and they print out all this paper that has that code, basically like whatever it is that verifies what those Bitcoins are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
They did that in Mr. Robot.
and they print it all out, and then they take the computer and they pull the RAM out and they destroy the computer. And then so really the only way to get those Bitcoins is to take that paperwork and like I don't know, what do they do? Scan it in and use OCR. Anyways, it's a way of taking those Bitcoins off of the network so they can't possibly be hacked, because the vulnerability is not so much in like someone copying a Bitcoin. The vulnerability is in like an exchange where if someone could hack in and get the password.
We're talking about it right now. The vulnerability is $365 million just going disappearing overnight.
Well, there was a crazy radio lab, I think it was, where they were following. I can't remember which coin it was. This is from a few years ago, but this guy was launching his own like cryptocurrency, and they went through all of these extreme measures of fucking like, making sure that this computer was like completely, there's no way anybody could put anything on it. They were in like a hotel room, and like people were authenticating like from around the world. And the journalist was in there, and all of a sudden a feedback loop started up on some sort of some sort of a live feed or something. And they couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And it turns out that a program had been planted on the journalist's cell phone, and it was actually streaming out all this authentication stuff to some unknown thing. And they had to destroy the phone.
Of the cell phone.
Yeah, the audio of the cell phone. There was like a hidden program.
So it was an audio feedback.
Somehow the hackers had figured this out way ahead of time and had planted it on the phone. So I mean, this is like great. Fucking like that guy who was in charge of that, who bailed on it. He had to have been just seeing all these sharks, all these crazy fucking hackers and shit.
And seeing like how much, the stress of realizing that like all of a sudden the program and infrastructure that you created is, it's got everybody's money and you're responsible for it.
Yeah.
And
that was the best beer opening segue I ever heard.
Exactly. So what happened anyways with this, so the hot wallet is kind of like the active account and server where the Bitcoin transactions are happening. Cold storage is where like it would be in effect kind of like how a bank
you've already
only has a certain amount of money. So what happened though is people started wanting to pull their money out, and it was taking like longer and longer for the transactions like to get their Bitcoins converted back into real currency.
Yeah, they weren't liquid enough to fucking.
Part of this was due to the fact that this was around when Silk Road hit the news, and with Silk Road, it put they basically Mount Gox got pressured by all the banks that were like, oh, well, we're not gonna fucking transact with you anymore. And they basically were put in the position of only having their bank in Tokyo that they were able to make transactions with. And Tokyo they're like, well, we're only going to do it with you in yen. They had all these limitations that like you can't transfer more than like 10 transfers per day. But like as Bitcoin, any currency, like or exchange, really, you have to compete on the level of like credit card companies, to be viable for like everyone to use it and adopt it. So this guy, Mark, was literally having to go down to the bank and, schedule a withdrawal of like sometimes 20 to 70 million yen, Japanese yen, and walk out with it in bags and then walk up the block to the post office.
Post office, yeah.
Which was the only way to do transfers. And so he had to basically do manual transfers of this money for people who were. So this is why people were having the delay, was that the banks.
Yes.
He had to go physically.
Because he had to go.
Shit.
Because he had to go to the.
Man, that's crazy.
Yep.
Like you're sitting there waiting, like on some like progress bar on your computer. It's like, what the fuck's taking
Right.
so long?
Yeah,
There's
right.
actually a guy fucking.
There's a guy literally walking, pulling that cash, converting it to a physical amount of cash, taking it to the post office to
I
then.
need to buy this tiger now.
They're waiting on their last credit card number, bro. Come on.
So this was November 2013 is when customers were everyone was in the cryptocurrency world was complaining that it was hard, it was taking forever to get their money back from Mt. Gox, and so people started trying to then just like, well, I'm just gonna pull my bitcoins out, like I don't need it converted to cash, like I just want to pull my bitcoins from their exchange. And then they were getting told like, oh, well, you have to authenticate yourself and blah, blah. And they're like, no, what do you mean? Like, you only have to do that when you want it converted to currency. And so they, one guy who's like lived in London, kind of almost looks like Simon Pegg's, loser younger brother, who's like wearing a fedora. And he's like, oh, so I just had this inkling I just had to go there. So he gets a ticket and he flies out to Tokyo, and he's like, it was a winter storm in Tokyo and it was freezing and I felt like a fool, but I stood outside their door with this sign that said like, Mt. Gox, where's my money? And it did actually get press attention there, and he was able to confront this Mark guy who was like walking in the snowstorm with an umbrella. I'm like, who walks in a fucking snowstorm with an umbrella? And he's like, where I need to get my bitcoins. He's like, oh, it's not that we have a technical difficulty. And he's like, I'm a computer nerd. Like, I know that there's no technical difficulty to get just my bitcoins back. Like, the fuck. So it turns out he then had to basically publicly, in the 24th of February of 2014 is when they wiped and deleted their entire Twitter feed and made like a press announcement that I'm sorry, like we've got nothing in there anymore.
We spent it all on hookers and blow, man. Okay.
Well, the thing is
Jesus Christ.
Because
sorry.
Yeah, their post on Twitter was just Dear Mt. Gox customers, in light of recent news reports and potential repercussions on Mt. Gox's operations in the market, a decision was taken to close all transactions for the time being in order to protect the site and our users. We will be closely monitoring the situation and will react accordingly. Best regards, Mt. Gox team.
Holy
like
shit.
If you had, $1 million worth of Bitcoin because you were an early adopter and you're probably like, it was only those fringe geeks who kind of like understood the potential of it, who got in early. And it's like all of a sudden, like they're just like, oh, closing transactions, because what a lot of people don't realize is that these people who own these bitcoins, they left them at Mt. Gox. Like Mt. Gox was like a digital bank. Like they were holding the bitcoins there, and the more people would, like any investment, the more bitcoins people would get, the longer they would leave them there, like an investment.
That's how banks work.
So, exactly. So this motherfucker goes.
Well, you said it's like a bank, and then you explain how banks work. I was just trying to.
And that's why I said it's like a digital bank.
You son of a bitch.
So the Japanese eventually like, okay, we're not gonna let this fucker go. So they arrest him on like fraud charges. And I guess the way it works in Japan is that they hold you for 24 days. Um, it's like you can't apply for bail. It's just like, well, you're arrested, and like you got to wait for 24 days in holding. Um, and then
Yeah, but it's a Japanese jail. I mean, come on.
They can always add, if they add new charges, basically it's like lets them extend another 24 days. So they kept doing this.
Oh, really?
I can't remember how
change.
many fucking months it was he was in there. It was something maybe like 4 or 6 months. But this weird Asperger guy was like, he demanded his, they wouldn't let him have a computer, but he demanded like what the evidence was. So he got like a box of like 20,000 pages, and all he had was a pencil and a calculator. And in jail, he went through these documents, and he started with his calculator making these calculations and showing that even the prosecution was like missing like big chunks of what the whole picture was. So it turned out like because no one really knows for sure, but what they think happened was it's been leaking Bitcoins since 2011. When that guy handed it over, Jeb, soon after he had handed it over, a couple months later, there was like, there's this X amount of Bitcoins that they seem to be missing, like they can't be accounted for, but I'm not really sure why, but good luck. It's like, here's this company I just handed over to you. And so they created this bot called the Willy bot to trade Bitcoins to try to basically fill in the hole for these missing Bitcoins. And the thing is, this Mark guy, he gets the company and right away then finds out like, well, there's some missing Bitcoins and we need to try to somehow like make up for them. That's why he held the purse strings the entire time. There was no transparency within the company of like what was in the account in the hot wallet versus cold storage. And he himself was not really paying attention to the hot wallet, and it's leaking out. They're going back over the transactions in the blockchain. They're finding it's been slowly over time. This hacker was just pulling out Bitcoins little by little for 3 years. And they trace a majority of those to this one. I can't remember what the name of it. It was a different Bitcoin exchange. But there has, in recent years, there has been an arrest of a Russian hacker who they believe it's very likely because he was like a co-CEO or whatever of this Russian Bitcoin exchange. They believe like he was the one who was like had a little straw on the side of the hot wallet.
Was it BTCE?
Yep.
Yep, that's the one that I would use.
That's the one you used?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was crazy, man. Because you'd have chat, and it would basically be fucking Russian hackers. It was like, just imagine if you have trolls and people fucking like meme lords and shit, except you're trading like tens of thousands of dollars, and you're just trying to fuck with people's emotions. It was like some of the most addictive fucking shit I've ever done in my life.
That sounds like right up my alley.
It was pretty amazing.
They were saying like that's part of, even how this Mark guy got into it in the beginning was he got addicted to that day trading of Bitcoins. Can you explain how day trading of Bitcoins works? I don't really understand, because like if one Bitcoin's the same amount as another person's single Bitcoin, what's the point of trading?
So the big thing where you make the money is there are many different types of cryptocurrency. And what you can do is, like, for instance, I only had X amount of Bitcoins, and a lot of my other my crypto would be in different currencies. Now you can mine that. So I would actually mine some of that currency. So I would set my miners to mine a specific currency. Or you can trade on...
So like you'd be like mining Ethereum.
Right. Right.
And then like I'm gonna try to trade this for
exactly.
Bitcoin.
But what you'll do, what's so kind of a lot of fun, is there's no regulation on these markets. And you would say like, okay, well, I'm looking at my little trend here, and you're like you got your Google alerts set up or whatever, and you're trying to see like the news when it first comes out about something. It's like, all right, now I'm going to buy a bunch of Litecoin, or I'm going to buy a bunch of, XYZ coin.
Try to get ahead of other people. It's like, this is the deal right now.
Right. And what was so great about it, though, was in the chat room, it was like psychological warfare in a way that you can't have
they'd be
in
like,
the stock
why are
market.
you buying that? Like,
exactly. So it's like people
like,
talking shit and like talking up and like fake news and all this crazy fucking shit. And it was amazing. But it was trolls too. Like they were telling each other to fuck each other's moms or whatever. Like,
God, this sounds like amazing.
It was fucking amazing.
It'd be like if
I want to do it now.
The floor of the NASDAQ, was full of internet trolls.
Right?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. And
while they like wave papers and you go fuck your boss.
No fucking rules. Like absolutely no rules. And you're talking about people that were making like millions and millions and millions of dollars. These fucking trolls.
Wow.
Damn. Yeah, so they think there was that, what did you say, BTC?
Yeah, BTC.
One of the creators of BTC, this Russian guy, was arrested, and they think there's a high probability that he may have been the hacker who was slowly siphoning off from Mt. Gox. So it's like, I mean, initially everyone thought that it was an inside job. But with time, they think it's probably more likely that they were hacked early on, back in 2001, maybe even as soon as it was handed off to this Mark guy. But because he knew, there's this, certain chunk of Bitcoins that are missing that we want to try to, make up for. Because he knew that vulnerability was there in the first place, or that error in the accounting, he kept it to himself, and he's like this super awkward guy who doesn't fucking talk to anyone really well. So he just kept it to himself, and then he probably like some people, where it's like, I don't want to know how much money's in there, so I'll just not look at my bank account, until I get some fucking alert saying I overdrafted. But yeah, it was kind of like when it came down to a head that it sounds like they had to keep pulling Bitcoins out of cold storage to put back into the hot wallet. But because he's the only one who was seeing what's in the hot wallet, he, was either not looking at it, paying attention, like whether it be ineptitude or like a Ponzi scheme where you're just like shit and bleeding money, and you're trying to like keep the people who are wanting money, get some money to them to keep them happy, while the new investors are actually the ones paying for it. So yeah, to this day, he got like 30 months in jail, and but being that I think the majority of people think it's more like he just was inept and way over his head. And it wasn't like he himself actually stole these Bitcoins. It was that he let this huge flaw just slowly drain the coffers. And that is how Mt. Gox
Hot wallet
went down. All right, we're gonna move on to the what's sexy. Teddy's got a robot lawnmower.
Ryobi. God damn it! I didn't buy a robot
lawnmower.
God damn. So I got some lawn care equipment. I got some lawn care equipment this past weekend. Lawnmower, chainsaw. I got them all electric because I don't want to have I don't want to have to deal with gas and shit and mixing the oil and then stuff with those kind of things. This is the second electric lawnmower I've had. Me and my wife had one long time ago, and it was a piece of shit. I hated it. She loved it. I fucking hated it because no matter how much you charge, no matter how much. If I cut the grass every 3 days, that thing would not. I don't have. I'm on like a quarter acre, I guess. I got a nice size front yard, a small front yard, but a nice sized backyard. But it's no matter how much you charge it up, if like you had to cut the grass like every 3 or 4 days because the lawnmower would be like, oh, I can't get through it. But this like I hadn't cut my grass in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And like I chopped it, I cut this bitch on. It has a little thing on. I don't know if you got a picture of it, but there's a little thing on the side where you can raise it up to lower the height to what you wanted to cut. And it was on its lowest setting. And I just fucking put my headphones in, like, we'll see this bitch works. And it chops up real good. And the electric chainsaw worked great for me today too. It was fucking awesome. So I'm looking to get some electric edgers and some other stuff now.
So Travis says it's awesome. I assume he's talking about your fucking robot lawnmower here.
So what is it, like an 18 volt, 20 some
it's
volt system? Or?
It's a 40 volt.
40 volt. Jesus, what are the battery, like a car battery?
I could actually get the battery actually.
Yeah, show us.
Be right back.
Better be huge. It kind of looks like it almost looks like a robot lawnmower if you took the handle off it. Look at it. It's like it's got headlights and everything. Does it have lights? Is that
what did you cut with an electric chainsaw? Your vagina?
This is the battery.
That's just like a big drill battery. I was expecting way bigger than that.
Yeah, but it does the job. It's awesome. So
How long is it supposed to last?
I didn't read the manual. I just fucking put the shit on and started it up. So
and that battery, that size battery was enough to mow your entire lawn?
Yeah, the entire lawn. Yes.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah.
Battery technology up in its game.
I don't have a big yard. Also, I got a nice size front. I got a small front yard. Backyard's nice, but.
So you had like a quarter acre. That's pretty big, isn't it?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Quarter acre.
I think you need to just put gas into a machine and pull the fucking goddamn string like every other man. Man up, motherfucker.
I got a lawnmower like a year and a half ago, and it won't start now. And I don't know why it won't start, and I don't want to pay. I'm like, fuck it. So I went and bought the electric. Guess what? All I do is slide into here.
You work on your motorcycle all the time. You can't fix a fucking lawnmower?
No, I don't want to fix my fucking lawnmower.
I'm completely mechanically inept, and I could fix a lawnmower. In fact, I have fixed.
I don't want to fix my fucking lawnmower. So I bought.
I have some water in the gas tank.
It works fine. All right.
So what did you do with the old one?
It's still in the garage. You want it?
You want it.
Yep. You can have it, bro.
Ship it on up, bro.
Right. That's funny. All right. Moving along.
Also, the cool thing was I also mulched. I also mulched. I didn't put it in the bag at all. I mulched it, and it took care of it fine. Yeah, it took the cans out of it. Yeah.
Travis said it bags well also.
Yeah, so does his mom.
Isn't that your aunt you're talking about?
Yeah, that's weird.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, actually, she'd be like, because he's my third cousin, so I think she'd be, second cousin? You know, it's one of those, not direct aunt. Anyways, moving along. Oracle. America.
That you probably make out.
I do not want to make out with Mary.
What about Fat Mary?
What about
Fat Mary?
This is getting real weird. All right, let's just move it along.
Rolling in the dog bed. All right.
Yo, Fat Mary, yeah.
Yeah, Fat Mary. Never
Mary.
forget me.
I actually shared that screenshot with my friend because she's legendary. All right.
So yeah, I've been Americaning up with my new purchase, my new Glock. Been getting a bunch of accessories and stuff like that.
Okay. Last show you had it on you. Do you have it on you now?
America.
Fuck yeah, I got it on me. America.
Strapped.
Strapped, man.
God damn it. crazy.
So
ass white people.
anyway,
I'm gonna have to get me a fucking gun.
Yeah, you do.
You got to make up for that electric lawnmower, dude. You better get yourself a fucking Gatling gun.
Desert Eagle or something.
You get fucking dual wheel. Fucking make up for that shit. But been getting accessories and shit like that. I've got kind of a nice kit set up with like a load bearing vest and shit like that. But it was a little process in order to get the pistol. I had to do like a little hunter safety card and had to wait an additional 8 days after I got that. And I'm like, oh fuck, I want to get some range ammunition. But turns out in Rhode Island you can fucking order the shit online. So ordered like 259 mil rounds through the mail. Should be coming any day now.
Nice. How much did I run you?
I had like $15 a box, 50 rounds. Yeah. 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 It's just cheap range ammunition. But it's been kind of fun. This is a part of my life that once upon a time I used to be very much into guns and shit.
Not so much out in Rhode Island. But.
Not so much out in Rhode Island. It's been kind of nice to get back into it. I look forward to getting out to the range. They have some indoor ranges around here, so that'll be good to get out there.
On the range.
Yep. So that's my America moment.
For the America.
Nice.
The antelope play.
Moving along to Mistic.
Seldom's heard. Uppity. So anyway, I don't know if you're gonna play that trailer. It's a good trailer, but it's called Uppity because that's what the people. It's about a guy named Willie T. Ribbs, who was a race car driver. Started his professional career in 1977, initially racing over in Europe.
Did he open up a rib shack called Willie T's Ribs afterward? Because that would have been awesome.
I don't think so.
Anyway. I didn't know his name was Willie T. Rib. I'm like, I thought a rib shack. You know what I'm saying? You ever tried Willie T's Ribs? Never mind.
So he's very, very talented. Like he was successful in the stuff that he did was allowed to race. But because of the color of his skin, he was constantly fucked over in almost every racing series he was in. Just from the good old boys that didn't want to fucking be there. Like race engineers. So Paul Newman gave him money to race at one point in time. Paul Newman owned his own racing company and shit. And so then
and his own salad
he
dressing.
was even signed by Don King. Don King was his manager in the 80s. Don King got him a ride in a company owned by, or not owned, but fucking the sponsor was, I forgot what the sponsor was. They were huge though. But the engineers were some good old boys, super racist motherfuckers. So they made the front windscreen short because Willie's kind of a tall dude. So when he would come into corners and he's doing over 200 miles an hour in an Indy car, the fucking wind that was coming off the screen was hitting his helmet so hard that it was shaking his head. And it almost killed him.
Wow.
That just millimeters. They would shave millimeters off of it so people wouldn't notice. But they were fucking trying to hurt this dude because of the color of his skin. And this motherfucker, he persevered it all, man. It's a great documentary to watch. His voice is great. He's got that
it on
low,
Netflix?
Yeah. Just the fucking way that he talks. He's
Is it common because it looked like he was racing, it looked like he was doing IndyCar, maybe even Formula One stuff, stock car. Is it common for racers to be doing all of those different types of racing?
Yeah, I mean they can. A lot of them do. The pinnacle obviously is Formula One. that's where they want to probably all be. But I mean, you do have those guys who are way better at racing rally than they are, and they could have started out in Formula One, you know, and it's just different types of racing. I'm sure they learn. Like Willie, that was where he wanted, was open wheel. He wanted to be IndyCar or Formula One, but nobody ever gave him rides. I mean, you got to have money to get into shit like that, and he never really had it, and was never given a chance because of the color of his skin. And fun fact, and you'll see it in the documentary, a lot of the movie Days of Thunder was based on him.
No shit.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Wait, Tom Cruise played him?
Well, obviously they made him a white fucking, dude named Cole Trickle. But that's the whole. You'll see it in the movie.
Yeah, I guess I haven't seen Days of Thunder forever.
There's different parts of the movie where he's like explaining these stories and shit, and he's like, and I'm sitting there thinking that's fucking Days of Thunder, and then like he comes out and says it, like the scene where they race each other in the fucking rented cars. Him and another driver that he raced Trans Am with in the 80s did that. Go into the racetrack, they rented cars and raced them like through fucking Santa Monica or some shit like that. Fucking beat the shit out of them. It's just a fun documentary. It's cool. Check it out.
Cool.
Word. All right, next is ashtrays. What's sexy? All your moms. Yeah. All right, moving along. The fuck what you think?
What?
Mistic. Protests.
What?
Is that what you had in mind?
Told me to
Teddy,
make it
when
up on
you
the fly.
told him to
I'm keeping her moving. Come on.
So
keep her moving, boys.
That these people, that these dumb old white people are out doing, it's just it blows my mind. It's insane to think that these people think this is okay. The same people who tell minorities to just let the cops arrest you. Just sit down. Don't worry about it. Follow the rules.
Folk, yeah.
Don't break the law then, black guy. But we're not going to listen to the law. You know what I mean? Like, fucking Wisconsin Republicans today just tried to sue the governor over this fucking stay-at-home order.
Yeah, you guys insane. Are... I don't know what's going on in Wisconsin, but
fucking rednecks are running the roots.
They thought that it would that the closure of so many polling places would give them the advantage in the rural areas because the rural areas weren't hit. Dumb fucks.
Yeah, well, that backfired on
with the Supreme Court. Didn't it?
Anyway, that's all I want to say. Fuck the protests. I'd like to drive by and shoot them with the fucking BB guns.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. And there's going to be
frozen paintballs.
There's going to be one here in Madison, I guess, this Friday.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. They were denied the permit though.
They're also saying that
they got denied the permit, but they're going to still show up.
They're also saying that they're looking into how those protests are being started, and it is mirroring very much how the Tea Party was financed by the Koch brothers. Right. And there are very
conservative groups are behind them.
Pockets out there that are causing these pop-up movements.
Yeah, pop-up.
Right. Yeah. So.
Yeah. What's funny though is like Tea Party came about when Obama got elected, right? Right after.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like now they're doing it during their own administration.
Right.
Well, they gotta.
I keep trying to tell y'all, white folk crazy.
Somehow.
White folk are crazy. You're
white
right.
folk crazy.
White people. Fuck, we're the worst.
We are. That's why they put us in charge.
Y'all underestimate. I mean, I get it, but y'all greatly underestimate the stupidity of white folk in this country and the craziness of white folk in this country.
Yeah, it's just the ignorance, dude. They think that the laws don't. What are you doing, man? Yeah. Just fucking sit your fat ass at home. You weren't leaving anyway.
Especially when you hear him say, like, how you gonna tell me I can't go to the bar with my buddies or can't go to the... I'm like, have your buddies come over. It's cheaper to cheaper to do it at your own house. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, and then you got like we interviewed some fucking fat, ugly Wisconsin bitch who was like, I want to go get my nails done. Bitch, you ain't had your nails done since
I need a
'84.
haircut.
Shut the fuck up. You know you ain't fucking getting your nails done.
So actually, let me ask you this, Teddy: Have you were you able to start receiving unemployment in Tennessee? Okay, so that's another thing because the unemployment now, is it the $600 a week that they said they were going to do?
I had heard nothing about the $600 until I got my last one on Friday, and it was $600 more, and I was like, am I supposed to? Because every time you go to sign on to the website and do your certification, it tells you like if we make a mistake, tell us, let us know. Don't fuck. This is what you're supposed to get. Don't keep the money and shit because you get in trouble for it.
Right. So that's the thing.
My shit was like $600 over, and I was like, should I call these motherfuckers? And that's when. Right, but see, I didn't know anything about that. So
and they didn't communicate that that well. And also, you know, these fuckers are like, oh, I want to go out and work. It's like this stimulus. Part of the stimulus is total wage replacement through unemployment, which is fucking unprecedented, right? Like that shit doesn't happen. They did that specifically so you stay the fuck home.
Right. But they also did it. But they also did it. I mean, too late. I mean, there's still people who haven't got their money.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get that.
I mean, they started the stay-at-home order, and then like 2 to 3 weeks later is when when people started, if you're lucky, started getting the money. Right. So by that time, you're behind on
right.
So
yeah. Just I mean, the communication as a whole from the federal government is complete fucking dog shit. It's
our president's the best job he can do in a time like this. You should be thanking him for it. Okay?
We should be
thanking him for it because you know what? Because I'm the president. I ain't got to do this shit. I want to do it. Okay, fucking motherfuckers.
I donate my entire salary.
Fucking bullshit.
The poor and underprivileged black children.
All right, moving along. Ashtray. Tyson Foods closes their Waterloo pork plant. Fucking
because of the coronas?
Yes. Because they basically were focused more. Like they just kept pumping the narrative, like we're essential. We got to keep the food supply going. We got to keep working. Yeah. Well, I guess turns out. So it's Blackhawk County, and they have, as of Tuesday, there were 182 cases linked to the plant alone.
Really?
And Wednesday, the county itself reported 379. So of 379 cases in the county, 182 were linked to that one meatpacking plant.
Damn.
Yeah.
So don't buy chicken?
The hamburger, y'all.
It's a pork processing plant.
Oh, pork.
Pork.
So buy pork. That's fine with me.
I don't buy Tyson pork, so I don't buy Tyson.
I don't buy Tyson anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's my fuck as you think. Fuck Tyson for you can't push that we're essential workers narrative and then just disregard safety.
Right.
Or the whole spread of the virus.
If they're so fucking essential, you should be fucking stepping up your...
that is why they're essential. Because this virus has created the need for essential workers. Fucking idiots.
Yeah, but these people are using essential just to keep shit open to get money. I mean, here in Nashville, here in Nashville, Hustlers of Hollywood was open because they consider themselves an essential business.
What's Hustlers of Hollywood?
Hustlers of Hollywood. You know what Hustlers is? The magazine Hustlers. They have like a.
I know the magazine Hustler.
Yeah, Hustlers of Hollywood. They have like it's an adult bookstore in Nashville. That is,
and they're saying they're an essential business.
They were an essential business.
People got a nut.
Yeah, people do.
Damn.
Oh man, that's great.
Out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, moving along. Teddy, Division 2, PS4.
Okay, so because I am so goddamn bored, I brought the Division 2 also on PS4. Because I have friends on it that play, cousins specifically. Yeah, I did. Fuck you.
Wow. So you have to build up your whole character again too, don't you?
Well, no, I don't because they have
Oh,
a level.
really?
They have a level. Yeah, they have a level. On the original game, the top max level is level 30. With the expansion, you go to level 40, and so I just leveled up to level 30 and got. Oh, thank you very much. Perfect timing. Woohoo! My girlfriend's bringing me the bowl. All right.
Good woman.
Where is it? Oh yeah. So yes, good woman. So I've been playing on PlayStation, and I started off at level 40 or level 30, went to level 40 real quickly. But I've noticed that it is a looter shooter. You can only get better as you get better stuff. So I can't. I moved up to hard. I moved up to challenging a little bit too quickly because I didn't have enough gear. And I'm getting the drops on this goddamn game for the PlayStation sucks. Okay, and the PlayStation's making it a hard system to love to play. The graphics are great. The game looks better on PlayStation, but PlayStation's making it hard for me to want to keep playing my shit. And want me to buy the next
So
one.
it's actually you're saying it's harder on PlayStation than it is.
It is
on
harder
Xbox?
on PlayStation on Xbox, and it is because
Really?
it's because I am not getting the gear that I need. I'm not getting the gear drops that I need to build my character up the way I need to be successful. It's like I don't do damage and I can't take any damage. Like that's you can't have that in an RPG. So especially an RPG where it concerns guns and shit. So like it is very, very frustrating for me to get off Xbox, get off PlayStation and go to Xbox where I'm getting all the great shit. It's like I'm being punished for buying the game twice, and I don't get it. It should be like
You don't get it?
That's what it feels like. Like I bought the game twice, okay? Like it feels like I'm getting punished for it, and I'm like. It is. I play, and I'm a member of Ubisoft Club. I have every Assassin's Creed game. I have
that's
every
a shame
fucking.
If you're part of
I have
Ubisoft
every
Club,
fucking. I am a big Ubisoft fan. I have all of the fucking Far Cries. I'm excited about Far Cry 6 coming out. I've got. I mean, you would think they would let me or let somebody that you have your character swap around to the consoles, whatever.
I
So you'd have
get it, dude. You're a fucking nerd. God damn.
I told you, man. Hey, look, I'd buy y'all a game if y'all played with me.
I'm not. I'm fascinated by it, Teddy. I really am. Like you have a need to buy video games, and it's weird.
Yeah, I do. Yes. There are 90-some games. There are 90-some games on my Switch, and I've played like 15 of them.
You spend more than that.
I haven't bought that Hasbro game. Was the first game I bought in fucking so long.
I bought 2 games last night. I'm probably gonna buy a game tonight when I get on.
God damn, dude.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I do know the next games I am buying. I mean, Streets of Rage 4 is coming out on the 30th. I'm buying that one. And then
Sweet.
I'm probably gonna get that for the Xbox and the Switch, and then the and then
you shared that with us at your sexy years there a while back.
That's the coming.
All right, moving along to Oracle.
Pretty fun. Go ahead. Go.
Break in the situation.
Break-in
Break-in
situation. So I
Break in where?
get a fucking call yesterday and a text, and it's like, somebody tried to break into the building. The door's all fucked up. Take your time coming in. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
They already stole your laptop once, didn't they?
Right? Like, we're in this shit-ass building with fucking homeless people living in the basement, like a fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fucking dojo or something.
So is the basement locked?
There are homeless people living in the basement? So
there were at this other place. There was fucking toxic fucking shit. Somebody died. It was fucking insane.
I remember toxic
Wow.
shit.
Jesus, man.
Yeah. People, like, they tried to cover it up and everybody just started throwing up in the building.
Really?
I wasn't there that day. Yeah. It was
Yeah, but he told
insane.
us about that. Yeah, I remember him telling us about
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
and then these people, they would just break in and the doors were like all busted up and shit, and they couldn't keep them out, and they were just fucking stealing shit, and they left this like huge knife on a table.
Like a crowbar or something to get in? Or?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. Well, anyway, we have put that behind us.
Dirty Mike and the boys.
And we're in a fucking nice building now. And I get this fucking message, and it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, here we go again. You have got to be
it's a whole different location this time.
Right,
yeah.
whole different location. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And so I told my boss, I'm like, hey, we gotta fucking up our defenses here. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
okay with just taking it. They just coming in here and fucking busting in our shit. Let's fucking boost the cameras. Let's blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And well, it turns out there were cameras all over the place. I didn't know about it. My boss didn't know about it. So she's like reviewing the camera, and she's like, "Yeah, it was this guy. He had keys for the building, and it looked like he was holding his crotch. Then he came into the door, and he had to take a piss, and he goes in, fucking leaves the door, and it like closed like halfway. So he like pushed it, and it like part of it closed, and the other part didn't close. So it looked like it was pried, and then he just fucking takes off. So it took us days.
So he didn't even steal anything?
Didn't steal it. It was somebody who's apparently an employee or has something to do with the building. So, like, a police report was filed and all this
So, like,
shit.
maybe a different maintenance guy for
A different
property
maintenance
or something?
guy from the property or something.
Went in and take a piss and didn't shut the door all the way?
Didn't shut the door all the way. So there's this huge fucking fiasco. I'm taking like fucking meds from Carolyn for anxiety because I'm like, here we
People are
go
gonna
again.
steal all my hard work.
Right, here we fucking go again. And
Wait.
it was
I have to apologize. I have to apologize for violating lawnmower, but you can have a gun on your hip while you take your girlfriend's anxiety meds. I just want to say I'm just calling bullshit. That's all I'm saying. White fucking privilege.
Oh,
Whatever.
yep.
Continue.
We're white. We can be
You're
anxious and
You
armed.
good? No. Just go continue. I already know. It's fine. We good. Go ahead. Fuck y'all. Go ahead. No, you good. Go ahead.
I was just like, you know what? I am just not ready to be dealing with this shit, to fucking go into my fucking classroom. The last time I went in to teach a class, like 10 minutes before teaching my class, and my computer and projector were fucking gone. So, essential equipment that I use every day.
Yeah.
But that isn't the case. There was this whole fiasco. It's been solved. It's okay. But the guy could have just called, and none of
Right.
this would have happened. Bastard.
Boom.
Sons of bitches. On that note, yeah, right. This guy could have, or he could have just shut the fucking door.
Or shut
And
the
then no
fucking
one
door.
would've-
Take the key and fucking.
It wasn't like so nobody pried in. I was expecting
Nobody
to
pried.
find like scrape marks, when it says,
Exactly.
like, somebody pried in.
It looked that
instead,
way.
The door was ajar.
Right. It looked that way because who the fuck would leave the door like that? You know?
Yeah, fucking lame.
The door was ajar.
All right. In all seriousness, go fuck yourself, Winter, South Dakota. That's our show. We're going to be here every Wednesday or Thursday night, 10 p.m. Central. Make sure to join the conversation at theredeyereport.com or facebook.com/redeyereport. You can twiddle us or fuck us or whatever you want because we don't do any of that. We're down for whatever because I'm the ashtray.
I'm Oracle.
I'm Mistic.
And I'm Teddy, and now I know my place, apparently.
Yeah, you do.
Waited for it.
I'm talking about with the lawnmower and shit. I'm fucking Oracle.
And this is the Red Eye Report.
Taking his girlfriend Xanax.
Damn.
Whatever.
I didn't go
Whatever
that
it is,
long over.
Whatever it is you white
folks.
folks take for fucking anxiety.
Oh yeah, right. Anyone at the top has to be fearful.
I don't believe in anxiety or panic attacks. So
You don't believe in them?
I do not believe in them.
I wish I could. I wish
Dude,
I
you
could
are
not
like
believe.
a walking ball of
Why
fucking anxiety.
Why do you think I'm an alcoholic?
See what?